Okay, everybody, welcome back. I'm continuing on with my playthrough of Victory in the Pacific. So if you haven't watched the first couple videos, they're going to be right up here. But this is a classic game. I played it against my opponent, who is an expert player, and we played this by email. Now, if you watch the round two there, you notice that the Imperial Japanese Navy lost a lot of carriers, which is really, I think, devastating to them. But again, I am playing a very good player, and I'm nowhere near a good player. But I lost a lot of aircraft carrier too, but I get reinforcements throughout the game, where the Imperial Japanese Navy does not get nowhere near as many. So I think I'm feeling pretty good right now about my position. But we'll see exactly what happened, because I did prevent him from destroying the rest of those battleships in Pearl Harbor. So I'm going to be able to repair those now, because I have enough aircraft cover over Hawaiian Islands to protect them and get them all prepared or repaired for later on in the game. So hopefully they'll be very useful. Anyway, let's continue on with turn number 3. So here we are with all of our bases. So let's see what the Imperial Japanese Navy does as far as putting out patrollers. All right, so my opponent put a little cruiser here and here to protect these two areas here. Nothing over here in Indonesia, so that tells me a lot of these aircraft are going to go over there. Down in the South Pacific, dropped in almost all of his battleships, except for these 6 speeds here. But he dropped in most of them, and the 117s dropped all of them in the South Pacific. So he's expecting a battle here, is what I'm assuming, or wants a battle here. Nothing in the Mariana Islands here, so because he controls both these islands here and the area, we can assume he's going to drop a couple of these land-based air here. Same way in the Central Pacific, nothing here, so land-based air is definitely going there. Possibly a land-based air there. Got 2 ships here, so maybe not a land-based air there is what I'm thinking. But the rest of the ships become raiders here and here. Both his reinforcements become raiders here. And of course, this sub is waiting to find out where any of my aircraft carrier, or the one that is left, ends up. So let's see how I place out my patrollers in response to this move here. Okay, so here is my play after my opponent's patrollers. So I put all of my aircraft carrier here in Indonesia, the British aircraft carriers. There's 7, so they automatically make it. I had to roll for all of these battleships, and only one of them made it. The rest failed, so they automatically became raiders. Now, if you're planning on putting something over here, it's best to do it now during your patrollers, because when these fail, they automatically become raiders. If you do it on the raider turn and they fail, they go back to port. So this way they're over there. Although, unless these guys win, this really isn't going to do anything. Now, the main idea here is to make sure that the Imperial Japanese Navy puts as many aircraft as possible over here to leave less over for this side of the board over here, is my idea. I put 2 patrollers out here, a battleship and a cruiser in Bay of Bengal, 2 cruisers over here in the Indian Ocean. Nothing in the Coral Sea, nothing U.S. mandates, and nothing out in the Hawaiian Islands. These are going to be protected by my land-based air, is my hope. Up here in North Pacific Ocean here, I have 2 cruisers. Now, I can't put any land-based air, so I got to see how many aircraft he allocates over here. If he allocates an aircraft, I will probably see what I can do. Well, I probably really can't do anything, because I don't have any aircraft carrier close. But so most likely he'll put 1 aircraft here, and I'll just have to hope for night and get the heck out of here. But if he doesn't put anything there, at least I'm forcing him to put something here. So we'll see what happens. But so, you know, he's forced to put an aircraft carrier there to take that one over. He's forced to put a land-based aircraft here to take that one over. Forced to put one here, and forced to put one here to keep those in control. Not so much there. And he's forced to put some here also. So he only has 6 of them. So he's going to have to put a large contingency here. If he has the other 3 left, he's only going to be able to put 1 in each. and that will give me a chance to maybe do something. Although I don't see what I can do because I don't really have an aircraft carrier over in this area. The only aircraft carrier I have here is over here, and I can go 1, 2, 3. That can make it to this one, but it can't make it to this one, and it can make it to here, 1, 2, 3. It can make it to that one also. So we'll just have to see where he places his. So now let's go on to the land-based air deployment, and I'll just do them all to save us some time. So it's pretty evident that my opponent is a much better player than I am just by his placement of everything, which allows him to get things in certain areas. So he placed the land-based air up here, which is what I figured he would do. Another one here in the Central Pacific, one in the North Pacific, and in the Marshall Islands. And then he's placed 3 of them up here in Indonesia, which is a pretty formidable thing to try and attack. Most likely I'm not going to kill them, so they'll probably maintain this area here. I put 2 of my land-based airs down in Coral Sea, 2 of them over here in the U.S. mandates. Let me clear that away so you can see that. And then I put 2, which you can see over here, in the Hawaiian Islands right there. Now, I had one Marine to place out, and I placed him in the U.S. mandates to sort of get him over here because my opponent placed his one Marine here in South Pacific, which of course he's going to throw on this island right here to allow him to put land-based airs here and keep me from putting land-based airs in South Pacific. So that's a good move right there. Not much I can do about that. Now, I placed my other Marine up here in hopes to take Dutch Harbor, and I'm hoping to get a night up here. And let me move the camera over some here so you can see this. So I put my land-based unit here hoping to get night so that I can invade Dutch Harbor. Of course, he put his Curray to go and invade Dutch Harbor right here. So I'll have to burn my Marine, he'll have to burn his to keep Dutch Harbor under his control. Not sure if that's the best move, but that's sort of what I have there. Probably should have placed him someplace else, but that's sort of what I did. And then one thing I forgot to mention is I am doing 5 repairs on this unit here in Pearl. So this 5 is going to go away as far as the 5 damage. But we'll keep it next to that just to see what happens. But that's what's getting repaired on that. And then I think I forgot to show you, but let me go back just in case I did. In Australia, I'm repairing that 1 battle damage on this ship right here to take, to bring him back. And then up here in Australia, I'm repairing 1 point. I have 1 point left from Pearl. I'm sorry, up in San Diego is actually where this is at, not Australia. That's Australia, John. But up in the San Diego harbor, I'm doing 1 repair on this 5 damage ship here, on this battleship. So that this can come back next turn. So basically it's the 1 extra point that I have left over from Pearl. So I'll have a ship that's ready to go next turn over there. I'll have another ship that's ready to go this right here. And then up here I still got some more repairs to do before these 2 guys, and before I want to bring them out. So that's where we're sitting here. Let's see where the Imperial Japanese player places his raiders. Okay, so for raider placement, I was kind of surprised. Sent a lot of raiders over here to Indian Ocean, a lot of cruisers here, and then also 2 aircraft carrier. Now the main reason I can only figure on the aircraft carrier is if I do leave this area, or I abandon this area, or he wins it, which either one's likely. He's not going to get the flag, but he will be able to destroy this ship with some air raids here. So that's a good move. If these guys make it on their speed roll, they'll be in here. If they don't, they'll go back to port. But we'll see what happens on the speed roll there. So that's kind of a smart plan, because when he first did that, I had no idea why he was going after these 2 guys, because he can't score the points. I get 0 points here by controlling this. So, I'm not sure what was going on, but now I see the point there. So, and then over here, all of his other raiders went in here. This 695 came down from the naval yard, and he's going to do a speed roll to get it into here. If he doesn't, then he just ports it right to here. So his main objective is to get it down where the battle is going to happen and get it out of this area up here. Up at the top here, an aircraft carrier brought the aircraft carrier from the naval yard on over to this point. I'm assuming that he's going to want to base it in Dutch Harbor here to give him a little bit more force coming in this direction here. But we'll see where he bases it afterwards. He may just run it back to Truk, because Truk is a nice central. The nice thing about the Japanese players, they have Truk as a nice central area there, so that works out nice. So let me show you what he does with the speed rolls here. Okay, so on the speed roll, these two aircraft carrier did not make it. They rolled over their number needed. This one was under, so the one aircraft carrier made it in here, which is all he needs really. These would have been to make sure that got wiped out, but nonetheless, so these guys go back to port over here. And the speed roll made it for the Yamamoto there. So that one made it in. Okay, so a quick little note here. The Hermes actually did not make its speed roll, so that's actually a Raider up there. It doesn't make much difference, but that's just to let you know there. I played it kind of conservative because, I really didn't have much of the play on the Raiders. He was definitely set up much better than I was. So I put all of my cruisers out over here. I left this one port here because it's a good spot for it and nothing can harm it. I took the Saratoga out from Australia and put over here in US mandates so it can come up here and help out on this side of the board here. All of my Raiders just went to sea here in Hawaiian Islands. Nothing too spectacular there. And that's pretty much it. So let's see how the day-night works out, because we have a battle that's going to happen here, here, and up in this area up here in the North Pacific. We got a battle going on there. So those are our three places of action. So we'll come back to them. And what I'll do is I'll just show you what the day-night one was, when, and then what the results were for the first round. That way it speeds it up a little bit faster, I think. All right, so in the Indian Ocean, I get +1, he gets +1 for day action. I get +1 for the territory. I got a 5, he got a 6. Beats me out. So we will have a day action in the Indian Ocean, which is not my choice, but that's what it is. Both of us selected day action in Indonesia, so it's going to be a day action. North Pacific, he threw a 1, the Imperial Japanese Navy threw a 1, I threw a 3. So I get +1 for the control, he gets +1 for the day action, but I still beat him out. So it's going to be a night action in North Pacific, which is good for me. Small victories. Down here in the U.S. mandates, I didn't show you that, but he placed his I-boat here in the U.S. mandates. Took a shot at my aircraft carrier. It was a 1, so there was no hit there. And so the I-boat goes back to the naval yard. Also at the end of the round, at the end of his battle round anyway, he invaded Guadalcanal, so that's going to flip that on over. Yokosuka will go back into the board onto turn number 5. So he will come back in turn number 5 and the damage just goes away. In the Indian Ocean, the Juno takes a shot at the extender and gets 1 hit for 5 damage, so the extender is definitely sunk. Indonesia, Imperial Japanese Navy didn't do so well. They did get a disable here on the Illustrious, a complete miss on the Formidable, and another disable on the Indomitable. So that gives me some free shots at these aircraft here. Not that I'm going to take them out of the air. I mean, I'd have to get some really lucky rolls, but at least there was no damage done to the aircraft carrier, so they can harass him the next turn. So my only attack was in Indonesia here. That's all I could do. And I actually got a 6 damage. So the Formidable and Hermes took out the 21st Airfloat with 1 hit there. And it ended up being a 6. So this aircraft is sunk and it will be coming back in on turn number 5. But these other two, miss and a miss. None of them hit the 6 mark. So that's all the damage, which is more than I actually thought I was going to do. So that's a good thing. Okay, so I stayed another round in Indonesia here. And so what happened is that this airfloat here attacked the Hermes, and it got 1 point of damage on the Hermes. And then The 22nd Airflow attacked the Indomitable. I think I showed the Formidable as the one that got away, but actually the Indomitable was the one that actually was not disabled on the last turn. So anyway, this attacked the Indomitable. It got 5, and Indomitable, hard word for me to say. So that one is definitely sunk. Then over here in the Indian Ocean, we actually had a night action. Now I tried to run, but of course all of them have above a 7. So they were able to, fire at me as I was running. So they got 12 damage. So this ship is definitely sunk. He'll get one shot before he sinks to the bottom of the sea. Definitely sunk. And then over here, after this round, and just to save time by play-by-mail, we went ahead and did the air raids here. And so the air raids, the Juno got 2 hits between the 2 air raids, because they had 2 rounds of air raids at the end of this turn, at the end of this battle here. And, oops, I got it disabled there. That's definitely a sunk there. That's a sunk. There you go. There's definitely going to be the end of this round, so we just went ahead and did the 2 air raids at the same turn, like I said, to save time. And got 10 damage there, plus the 1, so that's 11, so that's more than enough to sink this poor ship that was minding its own business in the repair yard, and the big old mean Juno came after when it couldn't do anything. So, that's a gimme right there. But now it's my turn to return fire here and see what happens. Okay, so return fire for me was nothing. Poor Cornwall was sinking and it shot with a 4, so it completely missed. The Hermes also missed. It got a 5, which would be a disable, but that's a miss for the aircraft. And the Indomitable, before it went down, shot off a couple shots, but it missed entirely too. So, okay, a little bit of an addendum here. I forgot to mention this when we were doing our battles the first round. But in the North Pacific, what happened here in the Aleutian Islands is that the Japanese player picks which areas fight first. And so he had this as the 3rd area to fight, and this to be the 4th. So this one followed this area. So what happened was, when I got the night action here, is my Marines invaded this island here on that. And so it flipped it over to US. So because it did that, it caused this cannot stay in this area without a valid island for land-based air. So this one had to automatically go back to port. And so he lost the points here on this particular one, which I gained. So it was sort of a benefit for me. Then on, when his attack, when he did this one for the next area, he invaded and took out my Marines. So basically flipped that back here. So point-wise, it cost a 2-point swing by that area there. And so that was very beneficial for me. I can't complain about that, but not good for my opponent. So I'm happy, I'm not happy that happened, because you always want to play, you don't want people to lose because of mistakes, but you'll see throughout this game, I make a ton of mistakes. So let's do the points. All right, so let's take a look at flags here. Aleutian Islands remains Japanese. North Pacific remains US. Central Pacific remains Japanese. Hawaiian Islands remains Allies, US. US mandates flips on over to Allies. Marshall Islands stays Imperial Japanese. Japanese Island stays Imperial Japanese. Marianas, Japanese. And South Pacific stays Japanese. The Coral Sea remains US. Over here in the Indian Ocean, that is nobody's control. The Bay of Bengal remains US, and Indonesia remains Imperial Japanese Navy. So let's look at the POC. Okay, so the Imperial Japanese Navy has 12. The Allies have 9. So we move this up 3 more, so it's 14 in favor of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Let's look at basing. Okay, so for porting, my opponent ported almost all of his ships back to Truk, which is, when you're the Japanese player, that's basically where you want to be. You can go anywhere. He has the Tone up here and Takedo in Dutch Harbor here. So he has those 2 up at the top here. Everything else back in truck is aircraft here. Now, for me, I got all of my Britisher back up here. I did get 2 cruisers, but I did have to take out 2 of the aircraft carriers. So the only aircraft carrier, oops, I should flip this guy back over. The only aircraft carrier I have is a damaged Hermes. That's the only one I have left for the British, at least right now. I did get in another 2 aircraft here, so that's good for me. I placed all of my cruisers that were in the U.S. Mandates Coral Sea cruisers in New Hebrides there. Also, my Marines are right here, so they can go into a couple different places. U.S. Mandates, I put the Saratoga there. I brought some cruisers over and some battleships in Samoa. And then in Johnson Island, I put a whole bunch of cruisers and the Idaho and a couple other battleships here. I got in, let's see, what all did I get in? I got in 3 battleships and an aircraft carrier right here. And the nice thing is 2 of the battleships have the plus to the attack there. So I'm starting to get the good battleships now with better attacking power. So these hit on 5s and 6s now instead of just 6s. So that is our porting, and we're set for the next turn. Okay, so that was a very lackluster turn 3 for me. I didn't have things in the right places, so hopefully I put them in. I did learn some stuff. I made a few errors and lost a battleship for no reason. But my opponent did lose a 2-point swing there in North Pacific, so that was a benefit for me. That doesn't happen very often against this gentleman, so I was happy that he gave that to me. But hopefully you like turn number 3. If you do like what I'm doing here, please do like and subscribe to the channel. That helps out quite a bit and helps me out quite a bit. Makes it so that it's continuing to do this type of stuff. But I really like this game. I think this is a fun game. And now you're gonna see the tides turn quite a bit. You're gonna start seeing. You notice this turn, the Imperial Japanese Navy got no type of reinforcements. And I did. Now that does make a difference there. Now, in case I didn't cover it before, in Indonesia, my British fleet, they retreated, and because there's only land-based areas, they cannot chase retreats. Whereas in Indian Ocean, the ships there were able to chase the retreating ships, so they were able to attack them when they retreated. So sometimes the retreating from an area doesn't help you much. Sometimes you stick it out in battle. Now, the reason I retreated is that way only his night ships could come after me. And so that way he had to get a night, so at least that gave me a shot back. Where if I would have stayed and fought, he would have tried to get day again. If he'd got day again, he would have been able to just shoot at me, and me not take a shot back. So hopefully we'll be around on turn number 4 where things start to turn around. And turn number 5, we start to get some ships into the battle, but we do lose a lot more British ships here. We lost 2 this time. We'll lose 4 the next turn. And then turn 6 is where you get a large contingency of ships and aircraft carrier coming in, and hopefully that will help me change the course of this game right now. But I don't feel too bad. I'm only behind by 14 points. That's not too bad at this point. So I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for watching.